I actually came out at this camp, like saying actually the actual words "I'm gay" at this camp. They were questioning or they're queer or gay or out, and they were very comfortable being out, and they were just such a group of supportive girls that just felt welcoming, and they it was nice to feel that for once. I love the representation that Pride Tape has done so much for not only just hockey but for other sports. Oh my gosh, like I could talk about Steven so much. And Joey. They're such different types of people, but I love them so much.
Episode number 20, Vanessa Vargas. Welcome to the podcast.
Excited to be here. Finally, nice to actually meet you in person through via camera.
Yeah, it feels like that every single month when I have someone on. It's like it's all messages, through the apps and stuff. So it's cool to talk face to face.
Absolutely.
Um, you're in is it Spokane? Is that the way you pronounce it?
Spokane. So a lot of people who are outside of it say cane, like a candy cane, and it's more like a can. So you can
Yeah,
tell,
okay.
but that's totally fine. I'm used to it, but it's all good. Spokane. It's eastern, like 5 hours east of Seattle, so it's like right near the Idaho border. If you ever look at the map,
Um, is it the home of the Chiefs?
Spokane Chiefs, yes.
Okay, yeah, I've got this weird thing where a lot of places in North America, people say, "Do you know that place?" And I know it because of hockey teams.
If you're talking about the 2008 Memorial Cup, that's what I tell everyone. If they want to look up something that was caught on ESPN, Spokane Chiefs won the 2008 Memorial Cup, and when they had the trophy and passed it to the next captain, it seriously broke, and it caused such a viral sensation. So I just tell people all about that.
I don't think I've seen that actually.
You have to look at it because it's just the reaction is just so priceless.
It's really good to have you on. It's like I had Beck Jennings on the previous episode number 19. And we'd spoken through Instagram, etc., DMs and stuff, and we follow each other on my personal one on Pride of Park. So it feels like I know you already. So it's really cool to have you on.
Yeah, I'm excited. Love that guest that you've had on, especially Steven and KO. So I've been just trying to recommend as much people as I know who deserve the recognition, for doing so much to the hockey community.
And it was funny because I put a post on the story looking for season 3 guests, and you'd flooded me with a few people. And then I was sitting there, and I was just like, "What about you?"
I I personally just didn't want to invite myself. If someone recommended me, cool. It's just my thought was I think others should be on first. And if it happens, it happens. I'm not gonna just put myself out there. I just wanna in a way deserve it. And so that's just what my thought was at first.
And I noticed the shirt you got on. I don't know if you can get that on the screen at all. The Seattle Pride Classic looks
Yeah, it,
awesome. We'll
it
we'll
is.
get into that a little bit later on, but yeah, it's a cool shirt.
Yeah, my friend did it for me. And then I'll talk about it more because my parents have a shirt and same thing as my sister. So we had matching shirts when they came to that year. So a lot of people loved it and I still get compliments on it.
Um, your hockey journey. You told me before we came on you've been playing for 25 years, and that is absolutely wild.
Yeah, I was 8 years old when I started. And I started with my sister. So we kind of got into it and um, mostly play together on the girls' team that we were part of. And then we kind of went different paths, I guess. When we ventured off, I played more competitive and she didn't. I think she just played for fun. And right now, like, she doesn't play as much as me, but she tries so much to be a part of the pride tournaments for Seattle, especially. She just has so much fun doing it, and it's nice to have that moment with her.
This could be a controversial question, but who is the better hockey player?
I knew you were gonna ask this question. Everyone does. It's a very good question. My sister was a goalie growing up, so she was good at best at goalie. But when we compare ourselves, and I can't believe I'm saying this, in ways, Melissa, I felt like she could have gone farther than me. Like, she was, as a goalie, she just did so well, and grew into that, and she just had this calming presence. Like, she loves shootouts, and so um she went to like the regional camp, or the one before you go to like Placid or wherever, but she was a spot away from actually getting into that. So she got to play with more college level type players. So I will give her that. But when we play against each other player for player, it is very exciting and interesting because she brings it almost every single time. And somehow there's a memorable moment where she'll go around me slightly and shoot it around me or something, and it's just she scores, and I'm like, what the heck? And it's just she lives for those moments. And then when we go up against each other as goalie and player, she does the same thing. Even if she's rusty, she'll just bring it all the time. So I try to get her to play more hockey. It's very rare.
Um, is there a certain moment growing up that you remember most about playing sport with your sister?
um, I think just with so we were on a girls team that were local girls around us. We were with the Thunder Chicks. That was the team name. There was always good memories with those, just because we had a great amount of people on that team. Some we still talk to these days. Some who have spread out all over the country and stuff. Um, we had good moments, and then when we um I think it's just when we got to bond more and spend more time together, I think those were just always good memories. So and we had awesome coaches. We had this like group of women female coaches. One was like the motherly type of coach. Then we had the dancing type of coach that actually got awarded best dancing coach, like best dancer on the bench or whatever. And then we had a coach that just helped and created such a great vibe. Like, those are the moments I remember more versus the games. And so that time frame in our teenage years was probably our best memories, other than the hockey camp that we went to in the East Coast.
Um, can you tell us about the hockey camp on the East Coast? What was that all about?
Yeah, so my parents found this hockey camp in the East Coast where we spent 2 weeks in New Hampshire. And so me and my sister thought it'd be very interesting. We spent 2 weeks without our parents, and um, it was very interesting because of the different style of play in the East Coast, and doing a lot of the work and the training and stuff like that. And it helped us so much. Uh, and we were separate from each other because, as I said, Melissa played more in the college group age, and I played in the other one, and we developed in our own ways. But I would say after the first year was probably the 3 years I did that, because we did I did it for 4 years. The It was a lot of great memories, a lot of stuff I learned that helped me grow as a player. But it definitely was my second year that really was a memory that is always in the back of my mind, just because of I actually came out at this camp, like saying actually the actual words "I'm gay" at this camp. And so whenever I tell anyone, it's like a cliche thing. I'm like, I came out at hockey camp, and it's a funny way to break the ice and tell people, but like, this is the way I came out with hockey and at camp.
Was there a moment that made you want to do that? What at the camp? Was there something that triggered it? Do you
Yeah.
think?
So the group of girls that I was around, like that was my teammates. I think like half of them or a good portion of them were just like they were questioning or they're queer or gay or out, and they were very comfortable being out, and they were just such a group of supportive girls that just felt welcoming, and they it was nice to feel that for once. So when the two I kind of got to know more, I guess, over time, it seemed like they sensed I was holding back on something or if I was being more reserved than normal. And when that conversation started, it was something that I felt comfortable enough to say, I have been holding back on something, and saying the actual words of I'm gay at that camp and coming out to people who are strangers at first, after some time, it felt freeing, and it felt like it was a very good experience. I'm very thankful I had. They were just a great group of ladies that just really helped make that 2 weeks so memorable. And as I said, it's always in the back of my mind for a lot of personal reasons. And um, as I said, I whenever I think back of somebody who's going through something, I want to be a influence or be helpful, and just because I just remember that moment, I want to do that to somebody else if that ever occurred. So those 4 years of the hockey camp were always something that meant to me as I got older.
Yeah, I can tell with you telling the story how sort of emotional it's that you sort of get telling that story. So it must have meant a lot.
Yeah, I in a way I hear a lot of people saying that they were reserved for protective reasons for whatever their well-being was, whatever they faced. I had to do it at a young age. I faced a lot of negativity and bullying when I was younger, and no kid should have to go through that. It's so difficult, and it's especially for a kid to have to do that. It's something where it's like you're holding back so much of yourself, and you're just trying to protect yourself for the criticism and whatever you're facing, and it sucks seeing that from the outside, and it sucks when you experience it yourself. So for doing it for a long period of time, it's been something that when you look back on it, you wish you could have done more, but I think you did it for me. I felt like I did it for the right reasons. There wasn't a lot of resources. There wasn't a lot of talk about inclusivity or diversity or things like that. It just was something that you wish you could have a conversation, but you didn't know how. So, especially in teenage years with the Thunder Chicks, stuff like that, it was a lot of everyone holding back, and it was a very quiet moment. You know, when you're in the locker room, you're just trying to not be judged, or you're just trying to be likable for your teammates and all that.
And after you came out, how did things change for you, both within hockey and outside hockey?
Um, I didn't come out to my parents until later, and then school wise, again, for hockey and for friends and stuff, I was reserved. I wanted to tell people, but then I experienced some not so great feedback, or just it felt like I lost people, but then also when I look back at it, I didn't have the right kind of friends that I should have had. So, yeah, it was a disappointment, but then it kind of was like, let's just be reserved. Let's just move forward, and let's see if we can just find people who are our type of people that would, be more accepting. So slowly it took more time to be more open, be more out. I more came out like after high school, just because high school was never fun for me. But I came out to some people in hockey very quietly, and so I had more support. slowly in hockey to people I trusted. So it was a very quiet moment in that time frame, and then afterwards, I had more fun with the Spokane Women's Hockey League after I graduated high school and all that, and it was a very big difference. Inclusivity.
Was there any sort of visible presence of other people where you were growing up playing hockey that were queer or gay?
Yeah. Um, um, with the girls' team, there was a lot of talk and hearsay about players and or coaches who were out, and then nothing was being said. So it kind of was like the players were kept out of the loop of things, and it just seemed like there was factors that took into consideration where things did change, and we wanted to know why this occurred. And as we got older, we find out the truth of things, and it's heartbreaking to see that the people that we liked having on the team that were part of that made the experience so well, they weren't part of it anymore. And to when I had the conversation with the individual who, I said, I wish we could have done more. I wish we could have said more. But, um, I think right now things have changed, and trying to get them into more of the inclusive stuff to feel that and be a part of it so they can have something where they can enjoy playing the sport again, or, being part of that inclusive group.
I've had sort of this discussion with some people on this podcast before, and I'm guessing you would have been the same as well. You've probably seen a lot of really good hockey players just disappear from the sport just because of not having that inclusive aspect to it.
I've seen a variety of things where they stop playing competitive, or they just don't come out until later on in life. Uh, I think the ones that really went up high, I think it just ruined the sport for them, unfortunately. Um, I recall a few players who I really saw such great potential, and they played college, and then I just have not heard of them playing again. I've even invited, I think, a couple to some of the pride tournaments, and they're like, I don't play much anymore. And I just don't know if the factor of the inclusivity of the area that they were in, or if something else had occurred. But I've had great conversations with people who fell in love with the game after some time, and they said, I love and appreciate these inclusive tournaments, and they've been so resourceful and helpful, and I made the best kind of friends. And I feel the same way. I've met the most amazing people because of these tournaments so much, and I don't know what I would do without these tournaments.
Um, has the area um, the hockey in your area, has it changed a fair bit since your teenage days with the diversity and inclusivity within hockey?
Yeah, in ways it has. It's just, I think I've always learned there's always going to be a gray area with sports. You can't get the best of both worlds, and it's not going to be black and white. There's going to be gray areas where you have to figure out what's going to work best for you. Um, as I said, I'm very thankful for the Spokane Women's Hockey League. I think that was so helpful, and I met so many amazing women on there, and a lot of them, so a good portion were queer, LGBTQ, and it's just amazing. I met a lot of friends. Um, but then at other times when you kind of step away from that league, it's, yeah, you still hear the slurs, or the negative locker room culture that just felt so unwelcoming. I For a little bit I didn't play in co-ed just because of the stuff I heard. I kept hearing the F slur a lot, so much, and just how people can just be so negative on individuals without even knowing them. Um, so it took some time, but slowly as I got to know more people, I um I actually started joining some teams as a sub, and I actually stood on a team that has grown. And so, like, they've gotten rid of the negative people who've not made the team so much fun. And this year, it's actually been hopeful. It's been a great group of people. I'm not 100% out to them. Like, I'm not like going to be 100% real with them about talking about my life and all that. It's just a lot of them know. And some of them ask, "Oh, did you have a good weekend at wherever you were?" And I go, "Yeah, it was fun." And so it's just it's it's at a point, it's that gray area where you got to figure out they still are nice, they're respectful. I still have fun with them, and it's definitely a learning curve that you got to figure out when areas that are not as diverse as Seattle.
Yeah, it's still definitely a safety aspect, isn't it? Where you need to protect yourself as much as you want to be out and authentic in your life. There's
Mhm.
still times in life where you need to protect your own safety.
Yeah, and it's kind of why I've been traveling more. Like, I already have plans for 2025 to travel to more inclusive tournaments. And it's just, I've been doing things on my own. And so it's been a very interesting journey of doing it on my own, but also doing it for the right reasons and doing it for things that matter so much to me. And meeting amazing people throughout this amazing journey.
Do you think there'll be a time where in Spokane that there might be a queer team or a queer league eventually?
It's a very good question. I mean, a good portion of Spokane Women's League now has been pretty growing in the league where they've been more inclusive. They've been super helpful for those who are, coming out or going through that experience. Um, it's definitely going through some changes in a good positive light. So I hope that maybe they'll get a team one day in the future, hopefully. I feel like there's enough players that could fill a team, but it's definitely going to take some time. But nothing. I again, I have a lot of hope, but nothing would surprise me if that happened in the future one day.
And the women's hockey organization, you talk when you speak about it. It seems like you're very sort of excited and proud. I can hear it in your voice. Uh, how big is it, and how big is it getting? Especially now that there is the PWHL, which seems to be making women's hockey grow even more now.
It's kind of going through an adjustment period right now. So there used to be 4 teams, and because of the shift change in scheduling, it's technically 2 teams right now, but they allow more players to play. So it's so tricky, but it's just they're trying to make it doable where the timing's not so bad and everyone can have more ice time, I guess, and then also have a skills session afterwards. So they're just trying to figure out what works best for everyone's schedule and if this is a way we can adjust with having a short bench in a sense. It's definitely an experiment, but I'm hoping it goes back to 4 teams in the future.
And you've created a lot of friendships, and you've had a lot of great moments in that organization, in that league. Is there one memory that you can think of from playing in the women's hockey league there,
um,
or is it just the fact of being able to show up and be yourself is
I
the
got
biggest
to
thing?
I got to be myself very easily. A lot of them have known me since I was like 15, and they still remind me, and they're like, "Are you serious? You're 33 years old?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not a spring chicken anymore." Um, and it's not one particular moment, it's just a lot of moments. Because I love how a lot of us like to get together, catch up on how everyone's doing, and it's just we find time afterwards of after hockey to hang out for things or do a lot of different tournaments that are fun to us um for and then we're getting a lot of new players, so it's definitely hoping to grow, but it's just I've known a lot of them for so many years and I've loved the friendship I have with them. So it's just nice to see that everyone's been so accepting and so open and so loving And so I I very much appreciate Spokane women's hockey, and I love how they have stepped up in the inclusivity part. It meant the world to me. 'Cause we just had our first trans player join the league last year. So, so amazing, I know.
It is. It's
And
so cool.
yeah, and everyone's really stepped up and shown the support, and so we're hoping more, more diverse players just want to come and join. I think it's moving on its way.
Do you feel like now that um, within that league that you're obviously one of the more experienced people now? If you have a new person come through, do you sort of take them under your wing and say, "Hey, come in here, be yourself. It's all good."
Mhm. I try to. I haven't really been around the women's too much this year. I've been a little bit busy, but um, I try to connect with those who are starting new. Whenever I play with them, I tried passing them to them more so I can, help them get to where they need to. And a lot of them have taken the info really helpful and just have grown. I got a couple of players who were asking me, I'm kind of interested in playing. I'm like, I'm happy to help you. I'll help you with all this. I was like, if you start playing now, you can maybe get good enough if you want to do the inclusive tournament. And I was like, jumping the gun a little bit, but I got really excited when some friends wanted to get into hockey just because they saw how much fun I've had with what I've done in the past year, a couple years or so.
And one of the organizations that we love on this podcast, and I think everyone does, and you've sent me some photos um, of you playing. Um, you have a lot of pride tape on your sticks.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of pride tape in your area? And how does it make you feel to be able to have just something as simple as pride tape on a stick to have that visibility?
Uh, I've seen it more. I don't see it so often in Spokane, but a couple people wear it frequently, which is so awesome to see. I love the representation that Pride Tape has done so much for not only just hockey but for other sports. It has really grown, and um, I wear it all the time when I do inclusive tournaments or places that I feel comfortable wearing that tape often. I honestly just need to get a no-name hockey stick and just have that because I would love just to use that stick often because there's just so much growth in the representation, not only in Pride Tape but in other companies. CCM doing the Pride line, so I try to sneak those products when I can just to kind of get more Pride stuff and just have it so ready for every weekend I'm going to those tournaments. But I've talked to the guys from Pride Tape and they're just so awesome to chat with. So I have a couple of their hats and I think a hat and maybe a shirt or something.
And we mentioned off the top, you've got that shirt on, the Seattle Pride Classic.
Mhm.
When we spoke before you came on the podcast, you said you owe a lot to Stephen and Joey. I've had Stephen on, and I hope to get Joey on next season for season 3. Can you just tell me about Seattle Pride Classic? Because the people I speak to, they just speak of it so glowingly and how much it does for the queer hockey community.
Oh my gosh, like I could talk about Steven so much. And Joey. They're such different types of people, but I love them so much. Um when I first started and did those tournaments and got to meet them, I met them I think the first time at Seattle Kraken when they did the Pride Night, and I got to be a part of the intermission and stuff and got to meet them afterward, and I just love their personality and their passion behind how much effort they put into it. And I've been very fortunate enough to get to know Stephen more than Joey because he shared some really important things about the tournament and how much effort he puts into it and what he's trying to do to help save costs and to keep the costs down. It's just so much hard work and passion behind it, and he's so compassionate about what it means to these tournaments. Like it is such a whole different level than in the other tournaments. It just it like I when I first played when I was getting ready for the to register for the tournament 6 months before, I was nervous and excited. Like I was freaking out, like trying to register and panicking, like, oh, this I want this done. And so and like the anxiety was killing me. And once I'm done, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in. And then check in with sister, you in? Like I've never had that energy before. And for a tournament 6 months before to make me feel that and have the excitement, it means the world to me in a lot of ways. And as I said, I owe Joey and Steven for starting this addiction for me. And I will always support Seattle Pride Hockey Association. And people have asked, why aren't you moving there? I'm like, there's personal reasons why. I have family here in Spokane, and I I always ask Steven, what can I help with? How can I get involved? And some things don't work out where I can't schedule wise, and I try to be helpful when I can. I support them and I share all the stuff that they always share. It's just I love them too. I love them so much, and to have people like that who are so passionate about this organization, it shows. It shows their love for it, and I think so much they've saved so many lives in very good ways, and I think they've changed a lot of lives, and I think they've been such great influences. People need to recognize these amazing individuals. So um I hope they see this and they appreciate because they deserve so much recognition. I will tell everyone always about it. It's those two guys who've put so much hard work, and I've met other organizations who've been share the same passion and love, and I've had great conversations with them, and it's very hard to pick which ones, I've been really like, top favorite ones. It's just a lot of them have different reasons behind to love that tournament for specific reasons. And uh, as I said, it's hard to explain what it means, just because they're so important to me personally.
I don't think people realize how big the Seattle Pride Classic is. I still get a sense that they don't realize that the NHL is involved, Pride
Hmm.
Tape's involved, all these organizations are involved. I don't think they realize the scale of how big it actually is.
It is huge. It's such a vibe. It like they for getting guest players to be a part of it. JT Brown, Luke Prokop, um, they had CCM helped bring some Team Canada players up here too, and I was very surprised, and I'm like, where's Team USA on this? But it's good to see more action and activity behind it. I would love to see You Can Play being more involved in the NHL, like really doing more behind it. They've done a lot of nice specials behind it and like on YouTube and stuff. But it's there's so much involvement. It is crazy. And I can't for them hitting their fifth year this year. In my mind, I'm just expecting it to just be another setup bar high there. It sucks waiting. I'm sure he has big plans, and I can't wait for it.
And one of the biggest things out of it as well, was the fact that you're able to do this, and enjoy the Seattle Pride Classic with your family and your sister as well. Firstly, how much does it mean to you to be able to share this with your sister?
So much. When the thing I always think about with my sister is she's a lot like me, very quiet, and so when she got to meet more of my friends the second year, because we were hanging out with our team most of the time, but I got to meet more people afterwards. Um, I enjoyed every moment of it because Melissa was very extroverted. She was very happy and smiling and so excited. It was just so awesome to see. So I have a couple pictures of her smiling, and I love those memories and how she hung out with my friends and how she got to connect with someone who's just as much as a horror fan as she is. Like she was freaking out, like very girls. And so the excitement and joy she had just made my weekend, because if she's having fun, I'm having fun, and then my parents getting to see that, it made it so much sweeter on the second year, because that's my favorite year, probably just because of our parents being there, and a couple pictures we got to capture with them. So it's those happy moments. My parents love those pictures too.
Yeah, I was going to mention your parents because they were there as well, and I think it's really cool because obviously, as we know, within the LGBTIQ plus community, sometimes people don't get to have their parents around, things like that. So these tournaments and the community becomes their family. But how awesome was it to have your parents there? Not only there, but in photos as well. It must have been cool.
Well, before the tournament, we were surprised. My parents, I think both of us were at the house, and my mom was like, "Hey, so we're gonna go to the Seattle tournament. I hope that's okay with you." And I'm like, and
Yeah.
it stunned me, because they've always been supportive when we came out. They it took some time for them to have conversations about it, but they always said, "We love you no matter what." And so when we heard that, it shocked me for a bit, and then I got emotional, because I'm like, "Holy crap. They're coming to a pride event, hockey pride event." And I was emotional in front of her, and then I think it hit me more when they came, and I'm just almost like, "Don't, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry." Because we wanted to get that picture. We asked somebody, "Can you take a picture of us afterward?" So we took the photos, and then if you look at the photo, it's my dad doing the thumbs up. It's a thumbs up approval. And I love that picture. But I wish we would have taken more photos with them. Um, a lot of people met my parents, and they were so happy that they came, and they're like, "That is so awesome your parents came." I'm like, yeah, it made our weekend. And they wore the shirts, and I said, "We won't make it too bright." One parent had my number, the other one had my sister's number. We we made it fair and equal.
Did you put on a show for them? Were you dangling out on the ice and playing your best hockey?
I think it just motivated my sister more, because I swear she had this confidence going in, and she was so excited. I think there's a photo from the tournament where she's like full on excited, where she's like, "Yeah!" and I and there's some really great photos. Again, the team that we were on just had such a great vibe and energy. We were all getting all excited, and I lost my voice during the tournament, 'cause I was captain, and I had to ask somebody, "Please help me, because I've lost my voice." And just that energy brought up was so amazing. All 3 years have been amazing on vibe and energy, and just I loved it. I got to be captain for the first 2 years, so the experience was so interesting and, exciting, because I never thought I would ever be a captain for anything, and I stepped up for this, and I'm glad I did.
Um, what did it mean to you to be named captain? Obviously, you've gone through all of the hardships and things like that growing up,
Yeah.
finding your way as yourself, obviously, but with hockey as well. What did it mean to you to be named captain, for something like this?
Um, I don't know what motivated me to say to show interest, but I just said, "You know what? Something like this, let's see how it goes." And I was excited to sign up, and it was I was so nervous, and I wanted to be a good influence, and that was the focus I had in my head. And first year I talked a lot, but I put important meaning behind it. I said, everyone should have a good experience. It should be inclusive. Um, Please try to help make it a good experience for every individual, because they're experiencing this new thing, or they're doing it on their own. Um, and I think everyone appreciated that, because when we all had fun and we had this energy, we were all motivated to create a good experience for everyone. And when a team does that and they were influenced by that and everyone else wants to do the same thing, that is such an amazing experience to experience firsthand. And then you do it again and people see that and they reach out and they say, I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you changing, bringing that energy to the team. And it kind of magnified and brought everyone else to kind of come out of their shell and have this huge excitement on their face and have that camaraderie. It's I don't think a lot of people have had that feeling before, and so when they experience it and you see them glowing, it's just like it's such a beautiful moment to see, especially when Team Trans played in the tournament for the first time. I saw so much of that, so much. I cried when one person came up to me and told me what happened. They started playing hockey again after they transitioned, and I like was crying with them. And so I appreciated that vulnerable moment. Um, and so it's just always been it's always that motivation that I will keep trying to be a captain just for the experience I've had in the other teams. And I just hope I get to be an influence for others as much as I can, no matter what, whether or not I'm a captain or not. So that's like kind of like that motivation for these tournaments. It's nice to have that as a goal.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing how something like the Seattle Pride Classic can through hockey can bring people together where they can release that burden that they have. They can go up to someone who can be a complete stranger, but they know that they're in a safe place to actually get something off their chest that they might not have been able to do before.
Yeah, I have met amazing people who have changed my world in so many ways, and I think it was last year where I struggled for something during last year, and they have personally reached out and said, I've seen you be. I know you. Are, how do I explain this? I can sense that you were hesitating a little bit, or you were being more reserved this year, but you have such this amazing glow in you when you are just having a good time. And so to see people want to reach out and say that they sensed my change and they just want what's best for me. And as I said, there's been such amazing supportive people who've been great friends who have gotten to see all versions of me and um have always invited me to things or help me get to be a part of an amazing group of people. Makes my day or week or whatever when I get to see them more as much as I can. So um, I love growing my pride group of friends, and it's very hard to say no for a lot of tournaments and stuff, but I try to pick the ones that really are going to be a good experience worth doing, especially traveling.
I could imagine that when you're circling the calendar for Seattle Pride Classic, it must obviously be a lot of excitement and the energy is flowing because you're looking forward to it. Um,
Yeah.
what are some of the tournaments? Have you got any tournaments marked off for the future that you want to attend?
So so we're doing Winthrop. I got on a team for that one, and that oh my gosh, like I'm so excited because we have such an amazing group. Former teammates, team players that I've been wanting to plan a team with, and some people I've met who are part of the, film group or photography group of, the Seattle Pride Class tournament. And just we're like getting motivated to get our own jerseys and stuff. So that's one. Western Cup is another one. I've might go again. It's just Canada's always fun. Calgary's really it's and the multiple sports in Western Cup is exciting and meet others from other sports is fun. I'm considering doing New York, if we can get a team together. But I've also been open to joining other groups, like from Minnesota, and I've met a team that was like an all queer women's hockey team, And I'm like, I'm in. Like, if you get a team, I will have interest because that sounds fun. um, let's see. Seattle Pride Tournament's a couple weeks after Memorial. Uh, I was considering. I'm debating. That's where I'm stuck right now in the fall time frame. Is Chicago sounds interesting. Um, and going back to Minnesota, and then the other one, which is not a pride tournament, it's more of an inclusive tournament, is it's called it's Play LA. And my friend Bryn got me on her team, and I've always had a great experience with that team. It's just nice to do it during Labor Day weekend. Um, I'm seeing if that's doable, but that one's probably gonna be a doable option because I get offered to crash with somebody, and it doesn't hurt to be near the beach because that's a
Yep.
winning feature. So um, and that's what I have so far. But I'm sure somebody will be like, come to this. And I have considered KO's tournament for the TTHE tournament. It's a
Yep.
week after Winthrop. So that's, it's hard to see if it's doable. And also, if I can get the time off from work, I have to see how creative I can be. So there's so much in the air right now.
Well, if you talk to Stuart Ridley from Harbour Lights Hockey here in Australia, Stuart would want to get you out here too at some stage. So maybe that's something in the future. Fingers crossed, we can see you out here.
That is a consideration for 2026. My friend was talking about the Australian Cup in January. And so I have to figure out which one I would try to do, but to meet the Harbor Lights group, that would be so fun. But I would have to stay like more than a week because I was just told you've got to experience more than a week. There's so much I want to do. And so I am putting it up there as a goal. I'm saving right now and be like, I'm gonna make this happen somehow. So I'm gonna see what I
Well,
can do.
if you head out around Mardi Gras time, they have a Mardi Gras tournament, a hockey tournament every year. So that could be something on your radar as well.
I'll have to see what I can do, but I mean, there's so many possibilities. I will let you know when I'm officially coming over, and I'll be like, "Where are we meeting? Where are we going?"
What's your proudest moment you've had within queer hockey?
Hmm. Um. There's so many good ones. I that's a hard one. Um. Again, I think the proudest moment would probably be that second year at the Seattle Pride Classic, just with my sister and my parents. Because there was so much going on that year. Um, I got to do the promo that was part of the Seattle Pride group for the All Star promo. I got to be on an article that was really fun, and she even the woman who was interviewing me sensed my emotions behind all what I was talking about, and she wrote a beautiful article, and I was so proud of that. So there was just that second year meant the what is it, 2023? Yeah, that just was a very good high moment for me. There's just so many good moments. It's hard to pick one specific thing, but that's probably my favorite memory so far.
That's amazing. Is there anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to let our listeners know about before I let you go?
Um, Let me think. I think definitely the people should look into more of the hockey tournaments that are worldwide. Palm Springs, Chicago. I would love to see Boston do like a hockey tournament over there. I probably would be over there. Um, I just said do some research. Go to Seattle Pride Hockey and look up the tournaments that are available on the site. If somebody needs motivation, there's not much to plug in. I don't do very much involvement yet. The only thing I'm slowly getting into is the you can play. I offered to be an ambassador, so we'll see how that goes, and hope to see them be a part of the Seattle Pride Classic in the future, like involvement too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll share if that news pops up. We'll share that on our socials, 100%. We're always
Awesome.
out to try and support everyone as much as we can. Um, Vanessa Vargas, I've really enjoyed the chat today. I hope you have as well. It's really cool to speak to different people from different parts of the world and get their perspective and their story within hockey and queer hockey as well. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, and it was an honor, chatting with you and having a good conversation, and I enjoyed every moment of it. And sad that it's already ending.
Yeah, the time does fly by.
It does, especially when you're in good company.
This is the Pride and Puck podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, follow, do all the good stuff for us. I am Andrew McDougall. That is Vanessa Vargas. And we'll see you next month for episode 21. Ciao.